A price must be paid for great power.
I remember seeing your lives from something. I think I was watching one of the dailies, and MG had brought up something. I was like 607. I was like, well, shit, let me check this shit out real quick. And I said, all right. I think the Trap Ties was the first one that I had seen. And as soon as I saw that one, I was like,
you went way back.
I said, all right. Okay. I like this. Because you usually don't see anybody play like instruments. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like there's a difference between listening to something like an actual orchestra or band, you know what I'm saying, in your headphones and being in the front row. You know what I'm saying? You can feel there's something organic going on. You're like, all right, this motherfucker put some shit into this. You know what I'm saying? He just didn't copy and paste, you know what I'm saying, watch somebody video real quick and put their shit together. It's like, nah, there was some real meaning put into this.
Yeah, man, trying to see what it do.
So when it comes to that part, right? How do you come apart? How do you put that together? It's like, all right, so I got a concept. Do you go get the beat first? Do you make the beat first? Are you gonna, all right, let me put this together. Let me write this out. Do you get a story? Do you go to the past, the present? How's that work for you?
Well, like the two roots of all my creation comes from like voice notes and like notes that I write in my phone. Just when because I always, I've been rapping and making music for a long time, so I always got the creation is always going on in my head. And if it come in the form of words, I'll stop and jot down a bunch of one-liners, the one-liners that come to my head, and so I rap about like my life and real things that go on. I can always tie that into whatever I'm talking about. I could always tie those one-liners in. That's how sometimes I'll write raps quickly because I think if you start good, have a nice little juicy center, and then if you end good, then that's the beginnings of a good rap. But the music stuff, it just be me humming and stuff on voice notes, little bitty ideas, or maybe me coming up with something that I got with a melody and singing it out, and it'll start from that. And when I sit down to make beats, I just be picking around, but I'll change it. Sometimes after I get comfortable picking around, I'll listen to the voice notes and change it into something more focused. Because a lot of times when I pick around freestyling, I've been making beats for years. I end up making the same type of beat that I always make because I'm not classically trained. So I only know a few shapes on the piano. So I'll end up playing the same chords faster or slower. So sometimes once I get comfortable after my about second beat, I'll pull up some of the voice notes and try to make something like that. Something that's drawing inspiration from somewhere different.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now, like you said with the voice notes, that voice notes was something that when I came across that, I was like, oh shit. Because I don't know how. When did the journey start? Before I even go into that, when did the journey start for you? Or do you feel like it started around this certain age, this certain time for you?
Well, I started writing when I was about 10, and that's just because it was a free hobby, and I wanted to do it. It just took a pencil and some paper, so I started writing. And I've been writing in some shape or form since then. I always wanted to. I heard rap. I was like, I think I can do that. And so I just started just writing little goofy stuff. It started off remaking other people's songs, and then I would just doodle my own little trash raps and stuff. Yeah, since way back then, I always been writing. I haven't stopped writing since.
Yeah,
it's never has a year gone by. Never has a month gone by since I was 10 that I didn't write.
I don't think I have either. Honestly, like it doesn't feel right for me if I ain't writing something. Like even if, you know what I'm saying, they ain't even got no rhyme on the end. If I'm just putting some shit together, eventually something's gonna come out. I'm gonna move my head this way or that way or something like that. But when you say you was remaking songs, do you have one of those first ones that you remade?
It was some digital underground stuff, and I was basically I didn't really remake that one. I was just like replacing a few words. One of the first full songs that I made was me and my cousin Demetrius. We remade 187 Proof. Spice One had dropped a song where he was talking about some crime happening, but it was all liquor.
Mm-hmm.
We did it, and it was just like household products like bread and groceries and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, goofy shit. We was like 13,
Yeah.
so it was like that was the first one that I remade totally, where I kind of just took the concept and switched it out. The other songs earlier, the remaking, I was just changing out a word or two, like put my name there instead of Shot G or Humpty Hump. You know what I'm saying? Put my name there instead of Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, you know.
That imagination, man. That's how that shit formed, man. Like when people talk about that, yes, that free shit, man. Like ain't nobody bearing down on you and said, all right, let me get a paper, let me get 300 words, let me get 200 words. It's like, nah, I can write what I want, when I want, and I can actually say some of the shit that I can't say out loud around everywhere else. And it should be golden. That should be golden. So what do you have, like, right now, like with the voice notes? Those are, there's always a time in music, like, you know, no matter how serious business or whatnot that you're in it, the times always change. So technology, like there was a time when it was pen and paper. There was a time where I can remember when I first started, like 06, 07, I could remember all 3 verses plus the hook. Like I would do that. Like it was something about always having that shit in your head. Now I wasn't no freestyle or nothing like that, but how do you do your recording now? Like do you read off? Do you know what I'm saying, do a check and look? Do you?
No, I record reading off the phone. I got no problem, but I'm also not one of those people. I don't read like a robot. So, you know, some people have the problem. Like when I'm reading, I feel like I'm not in it. Like by the time I read it on the microphone,
yeah,
I done practiced it like at least 50, 60 times.
And
sometimes I record it like 10 times and figure out what energy fit the beat the best. Because sometimes just naturally I want to come in hot, but the beat is calling for their subject matter, but it's not calling for their cadence. I gotta relax. You know, and pay attention to do what the beat say so it can be a cohesive message. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I'll like practice it 50, 60 times and I'll record it like 10 different times in 10 different ways and let people hear it and be like, what you think about this way? Or what you think about that way? You know, and get people's reaction and then decide which way I'm gonna go with from there. But I'm not a person I don't have a problem being an expressive reader. Some people, it does take the life out of their words when they read them, but I think they probably just not good readers, you know.
I've actually experienced that. I've seen a lot of people go through that as well. Even when I do music now, I ain't no rapper, nothing like that. But even when I read my stuff off, like the first time I did that sounded just like you said, a robot. You know, it's like, okay, this, that, breathe. This, that, breathe. Okay, I gotta stay like this and stay like that. No, it's just like reading a script. Just like actors, just like anybody else, just putting that emotion in it. And like you said, if you're going over it that many times, you're gonna be good to go. You're gonna be set to go.
And some people feel like it's disingenuous, but I think it's always a little bit of acting in any type of anytime you're reciting something because you're recalling something, a memory. So so you have to act. If you're gonna bring the emotions out from their memory, you're gonna have to go back to that place in your head. So it's a certain level of acting in it, whether you read it or not. So I'm not afraid of that. But sometimes I do go on the mic and freestyle too, just to see what'll come out. One time I released a whole album where I put like 3 of those at the end.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it was the Trap Ties album. They ended with 3 songs like La Lucha, It's Real, all of this freestyle.
Yes. Hey, see. Woo.
I figured out a new way to freestyle. Yeah, I figured out a new way to freestyle because I'd always just freestyle like this in a cipher with people, and I'll piggyback off what they said.
Yeah.
Or I just freestyle, just like stream of consciousness. But what I started doing was recording as soon as I heard the beat, and the first thing I'll do is come up with a pattern or melody or something, and come up with a small, easy to remember hook. And so I say the hook, I start off with that, and then I start rapping. And when I run out of bars, instead of falling off, I'll just say the hook again. And then the whole time while I'm saying the hook, it's so simple that by the time that 4 bars or that 8 bars passed, I done came up with a way to go into the next thing. And it's crazy because I went in the studio one time. I booked like 4 or 5 hours, and I had 11 beats, and I just told the engineer, I was just like, keep throwing them on, just keep putting them on. I don't want to listen to it. Just keep putting, load up this beat. And man, by the time I got to the 4th or 5th beat, I was like, those are some of the songs we heard. And at the end, I started falling off, and it was awful. But yeah, La Lucha is real, and I forgot the name of the other song. Yoga Mat. Them was 2 of the ones. Yeah, check those out if you get a chance, because that's it was cool. Some interest. It's like connecting folders in your brain. Like when you connect, like rappers have a problem sometimes freestyling because they rap brain is not connected to their speaking brain.
Yeah,
you know. But I made a conscious effort years ago to try to connect my speaking brain to my rapping brain, because my rap vocabulary was all right, but my speaking vocabulary was off the chart. So I'm like, how come I'm not rapping like this? So I made a conscious effort to connect those. Then after you connect those, then you got to connect your you connect that brain to your subconscious and connect it to all of the parts that you got. Your vulnerable folder. It's just about merging folders with me, and then you'll get some interesting stuff come out. You know, like I said, I had this one line that said, I think I said something like, life got easier when I learned to mimic empathy. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, where'd that come from? Then I thought about it. I'm like, well, that's correct. But I was like, where'd that come from? So that is interesting. But yeah, I think a lot of people too these days, especially the young cats, they know the society is against us. So they feel they don't want to put a lot of thought into things, whether it be a business, or they don't want to go into the studio. Like, I'm just gonna say whatever come off the top of my head. I'm not gonna overthink it, because like to the youngsters, overthinking is a crime. But I think that the people who persuaded them that overthinking is a crime didn't want them to think at all. And also they feel like we shouldn't think too hard, because it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Because I don't know, I like that freestyle style of rapping, and it's cool, and it can get you a bag, but none of those guys have really sold millions on millions or got into.
Man, I remember.
Into like what did Kendrick Lamar just get inducted into? Not the library, the something that they induct poets into. I think Jay-Z in there too.
Golly.
So Jay-Z is one.
I should have my Google on me right now.
Because the thing about my thoughts is, like, I appreciate my thoughts. I don't only want people to hear what I think about when I go to the studio. My daughters listen to my music. I want them to hear me. I want them to recognize who they're listening to. Not just the studio version of me, or the rap version of me, or the freestyle version of me. I want them to be like, yeah, we talked about that with Dad before. I remember him speaking on this. That's how he really feels about this. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with developed thought.
Streaming the line of consciousness. Now, when you talk about that process, like, how did you find that process? Did it come naturally? Did you find it from someone else? Did you hear it from someone else? How did that come about for you?
It really is just rapping so long and getting older, and I'm just trying to figure out ways to keep it fun, keep it fresh, keep it interesting for me, and I always want to get better. Like, I don't like because I didn't know how to take compliments back in the day when I started rapping, and when people said, you sound like this person, or you remind me of this person, used to make me mad. And really, they saying that I don't really know how to articulate my thoughts, but I like this person over here, and when I hear you, it makes me think about the adoration that I have for this person. So that's all they were saying. But I thought they was comparing me, like, you sound like him. I was like, how is you saying I sound like him? So I was constantly trying to do things to separate myself from them. So they'll be like, you sound like him. And I'm like, he do this? Can he do this? Did he do this? Okay, then you need to relax with that. I was like battling my fans, and I should have relaxed with that, but I was young. But I was just always trying to keep it fun too. Just trying to keep it fun and trying to be the best. Like, I still do. I have a desire to be the best. I have a desire to be one of the best in my generation. I desire to be revered as one of those guys not to play with, not for any egotistical reasons, but just because if somebody hears that and that influences them to go over to review my archive, they can find some things in there that may help them. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm the right guy to be put on the pedestal, because once the people peep what's going on, it's going to be something that they can take away start a family with, or take away and start a business with.
That laying groundwork with the work. That's what I
That's
like
what
to
I'm trying
hear.
to do.
Hey man, might as well. I mean, um, shit, I ain't gonna go off no
Yeah,
tangents.
it really ain't shit else to do. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we beg God to come here, and now we come here and we just want to, fish and babysit, but it ain't shit else to do, bro. But just try to get it out here, try to do something, try to lead the world different than you found it.
Hey, you ain't lying, man. There's been like, if you haven't had the scales pulled off your eyes yet, I mean, like, it's kind of like, what else do you need? What else do you need? It's like, how many, like, we always talk about, like, we've always heard it in relationship talk, man. I ain't gonna let nobody do this to me. I ain't gonna let nobody do that to me. I'm gonna watch them like this, watch them like that. Don't talk to me like this. Don't talk to me like that. But somehow, you know what I'm saying, we allow the outside world to treat us like second graders. It's wild. It's wild that way, like you say, with the music and how you want to, you're living how you're speaking. Like there ain't no difference. Like when the kids gonna listen to it, ain't gonna be like, oh, well, I thought he said because when we talked about it, he's too different and all this. Like, there's not enough honesty. You can't be honest with yourself, and you can't be honest with people out here. And it's hard. It's hard for folk, and people don't understand why. But that's why you're lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're coming out. You're putting on personas. You don't know you're putting out personas, and then next thing you know, you're out here rapping about shit that you have never done or never tried to do.
Insecurity too. It's insecurity too. Like we as dynamic figures, as dynamic men, especially dynamic Black people, we not widely accepted. You know, they gonna always gravitate towards the archetype. They're gonna gravitate towards the one-dimensional Black person. You know, the college guy, the guy who goes to college. That's what's up. You went to college, 2-parent home. You're an executive and you're successful and you wear slacks. You know, you a gangster. Your parents abandoned you. You was in a single parent home, and life wasn't that great. And you sold drugs. Now you drive a forklift. You know, they like stuff like that.
Yep.
They don't talk about the guy who had a 2-parent home, still went a little wrong. You like anime. You love women. You like guns. You like not even like
Oh snap! It froze. Damn, is that me?
You back?
Yes. Damn, I ain't even. Oh yeah. It dropped out and came right back in. My bad.
It's all good.
My fault. Sorry about that. Good grief. My bad. I messed up that flow.
It's all good. We can move on to the next question.
Oh shoot, man. Matter of fact, I want to ask, what's the next project for you? Like, what are you working on currently, or what are you looking to work on?
I'm working on a lot. The main thing I'm working on is getting my mixing and mastering business more clients. You know, because I'm doing a lot of that. And but you know, always on June the 7th, I dropped late last year because of the pandemic. Yeah, it kind of threw me off. But June the 7th, I'm planning on dropping again. I don't know what the project is called, but it's gonna be my 50th project. I want to release a book with it as well.
Yes,
it's not gonna be like a literary book. It's gonna be like a book with a lot of my verses in it over the years. It's gonna be kind of like a case study on one of the albums I did called The Dark Side of Ambition, because that album kind of sums up, I mean, my some of the things that I discovered on my journey to receive the blessings that I prayed for, and not knowing that every time you pray for a blessing, it comes with a new set of problems, and some of those problems I encountered. So I want to just document and highlight the 50th album is a milestone, so I want to mark it with a lot of things so I can reflect on my journey. It's not the end of my journey, but I want to reflect on it. I think it's a good time to do that. So those are the main things I'm working on. Just doing that and working on securing these interviews like you've been seeing me doing with mastering engineers, producers.
Yes.
just trying to get them to spill sauce. Also, make them aware of the Spice Tribe, our tribe, and also trying to network with them too. You know, because right now we are in the middle of a power exchange,
Mm-hmm.
and we're in the middle of a little bit of chaos. And
Yeah.
every time
Yeah.
chaos happens, when the dust settles, there are new magistrates in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure that I look alive and I stay on it and I don't miss an opportunity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm 41. Well, my age, I'm at a dangerous age right now where I can be real dangerous. You know, my libido is not controlling me no more.
Yeah.
I'm moving. You know what I'm saying? My family is my main focus, and I'm a dangerous man right now. So I want
Mm-hmm.
to take advantage of this energy, because I think my mind is going to continue to be dangerous. I don't know how long my body is going to allow me to cooperate with this. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to take advantage of it now. I'm feeling dangerous right now. It's a power exchange going on. I'm trying to stay focused and get in. And I think the reason some of these guys are even answering my DMs and giving me interviews is because the landscape is changing.
Yeah.
And you know, in a few years, they're not going to need content creators. So they might not be answering those DMs. So I want to take
Yeah.
advantage of the current state of the world.
Yes. 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 Now, when you talk about using your mind, because I just went through a couple videos, and all I needed to know, like within the first 60 seconds of each one, I was like, mind games. It's all mental. Like, when you can listen to someone and say, okay, you putting on the front, or you talking about this, you like that. It's a mind game thing for you. So I have to ask, when did you um pick up on the fact that you needed to use your mind through this whole process, through the whole game?
Well, early in the game, really when I was younger, even before I started rapping, my mom's was a homemaker, and she just stayed at home and taught us she wanted us to always be ahead at school. So, and I realized that even though that was a good thing to the adults, the kids didn't necessarily like that. It put me in a certain position at school. They would see that the teacher would like me and favor me, but that put me in a certain position with the kids. And so I had to figure out ways to navigate that. Maybe don't finish your work so early. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, you done with it, but don't turn it in yet. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to get looked at a certain way, because you're the same person, but they're going to look at you different. So I had to do that from early. And then some adults thought it was cool when we was talking about school stuff, but when I was asking questions, they would, like, I asked questions about religion pretty early, and they would kind of shut me down. And I heard stay in a child's place. I heard that a lot. So I realized that around them, I had to act like I appeared, because if I spoke anything that I was really thinking of, then it was going to be problems. I was going to change the energy in the room. And so coming into the game, I always knew from those experiences, like, you can rap, but you cannot rap exactly what you're thinking about without including something that the listener can grab onto. And you know, because if you don't do that, if you don't have a little joke in there, if you don't have a little bit of repetition or call a response, something where they're gonna tune out, you know. And so I learned about that early in the game, that communication is a mind game, because nobody is concerned with how much you know until they figure out how much you care. And so once you figure that out, then you figure out how to approach people and communicate more effectively, be it through just conversation or your music.
That when was the first time you were happy about hearing your own music through someone else's eyes? Like, whether it was on the radio, at the club, somebody was riding by, or whatever, somebody where you heard your music where you weren't the one that turned it on.
I didn't necessarily hear it, because the type of music I got, people like take it and scurry away to their little hole with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like thinking music, but it's like I heard my stuff on the radio and stuff. I didn't really feel no type of way. One of the first times I felt super cool is when this guy had wanted me to sell him an old CD, an old album that I made. And so I met up with him in the city and gave it to him. He's like, I appreciate you, man. I just had to have this album because this album got me through a hard time, and it really got me through college. And I was like, oh shit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, you want to believe that you're doing stuff like that, but to hear it coming from him, And then just to see the sincerity in his eyes, like he wasn't typing it to me or he wasn't trying to get favor. Like it was just us standing on Astor Avenue, and he told me that, and I'm like getting emotional. Like, what you trying to do to me, man? Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? But it was cool though. It was cool and it felt good. That was one of the well, because it happens a lot, but most of the time it happens through text or through paragraphs and stuff. And I don't look down on that type of stuff, but it's a different energy when you look at a man's face. Like this was a man. This wasn't a young guy. This was he was a young guy, but he was a man. You can tell he had responsibilities. He had bills in his name. This is a man-to-man conversation he had. And he was saying, "Thank you, brother. You helped me." And I was totally taken aback. I wasn't ready for that at that particular moment, but that was super rewarding. And it made me want to write 10,000 more raps, you know?
And matter of fact, when you speak on that, excuse me, like with the Spice Tribe, same thing. Like when I see that, like that whole appreciation, just being appreciative and actually sending out the energy, getting back the feedback, actually responding to people, actually saying thank you. Like when I got your album the first time, that's one of the first time I actually bought somebody's album and they actually emailed me back. Like I ain't even never had because I don't even check my email like that. I looked down, I was like, man, what is this? I was like, man, man. I was like, man, what does cookout.com want again? I don't know what it is. But yeah, like sending that energy out and knowing your intentions of what you put into it is what I'm really seeing from a lot of people. The confidence that I see in yours as well. Like I also want to say, like, I've only known you for a little bit.
But it's been like a year, 6 months?
No, yeah, but it's been like just knowing the passion, knowing the being able to do more than just one thing. Like you say, being able to play the instrument, being able to use your mind, being able to know the game, knowing all aspects of the game. Because I feel like the more you know more aspects about the game, the more aspects you know about yourself, the more your craft is easier to craft, honestly. And that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing from you.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. That instrument thing, I started playing instruments because my brother just on a whim had just ordered a violin out of Musician's Friend for like $80, like in 2002. And he messed with it a little bit and he kind of put it down and I started playing around with it.
Yeah.
And found somebody and started teaching myself and then started picking up and ordering most stuff and then going to Guitar Center, just teaching myself. I stopped playing instruments as much. I sold my cello, and my violin, but I still got my basses and a guitar and a few other things. But the instrument community wasn't really welcoming to me. You know, they really are super duper hell bent on gatekeeping, and the only way you can even kind of have a conversation with them is if you talk about music theory first. And they want to see what you know about music theory and how far it goes because they want to sprinkle their own techniques and theories on you and, you know, kind of scoff at you. Don't even really want to jam with you. And that felt like it was a dying community to me. I didn't like the way it felt. So I sold everything and I stopped playing because I can do anything. I could excel at anything just because I'm determined. Not saying I would be virtuoso or skilled on a level to where people will want to see me. But if you're talking about doing something physically with my hands as it relates to music, holding down the strings of a cello, tuning a cello, putting a rosin on a violin bow, you can't, and then getting on YouTube and watching videos like you, I don't have a problem practicing. And but that community wasn't very welcoming to me. And so I just didn't see any life there. I didn't like the energy and I didn't see any life. So I left there. I left that community. And then, you know, that was before I started back making beats because I always have made beats, but I stopped making beats from like 2009 to like 2014, you know, because they started making beats on the computer and I wasn't on there yet. I was like, I ain't finna. And the tech wasn't there yet either. People was like, man, you got to get this new stuff, man. It's Fruity Loops. And I played with it. I didn't really like FL at all. I didn't like that because I was used to making music on a workstation on a keyboard with musical terms and, you know, asterisks and sequencers. So I had some musical knowledge, but that was like a toy version of it. And I couldn't none of my musical knowledge translated. Yeah. And I was like, nah, this ain't the program. And then I went to Studio One in 2014. and it's been on ever since.
That's what's up. So I don't even, matter of fact, with the beats, I never really got into the beats. Music was just a way to express. And once, as I get older now, one of the things I did realize from reading a lot of other people's raps was most of the time I was talking to myself the whole time. Like, like, are there any songs that you listen to from like early days that just come up like a memory, like spot on?
Not really. It's a lot of them that I want to remember, but it's been so many that the songs that really stick out in my head is the ones that I performed a lot. You know, because I got 49 albums, but I didn't memorize 49 albums. The ones that I performed the most, the ones that people wanted to hear, and the ones that would be a good intro or a good closer. Like I remember those, but some of the raps, some of my best raps, I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember exactly how it goes, you know, because and then they'll make me go back and listen to it. Like I said on this one thing, I'm like an open closet door when it's late. The fear you got to control it, but still you got to go close it just to be safe. I don't remember how I said it, but you know I was cooking. That was from my 21st album called Stepchild in 2004 or 5. But that I was cooking that whole verse. I was really on my lyrical prowess tip, and but I can't remember it because it was one of those ones where it's cool lyrically and it's nice for a rapper to listen to, but it would totally bore a room full of rap fans who came to see live music. So unfortunately, I only remember the singles in the so-called hits, if you will. But I'm proud of a lot of my older stuff though, especially now, because not only has it stood the test of time, some of it is still reflective of what's going on. And I was brave enough to be honest. So, you know, it's not no rap that they could bring up and be like, what about this? And I'm like, you know, and then it's cool too to open up and be on YouTube now and them to see some of the stuff and hear some of the stories in detail and meet some of these people that I was talking about. And they was like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, for sure. I know it sounded crazy, or you probably didn't like it because it was coming from me.
Yeah.
But yep, that was facts right there. That was facts right there.
Now there's always a question that people ask. It's like, what would you tell your former self? What are you gonna tell your future self? What do you tell your future self, like right now?
To my future self, even if you don't feel like you could do it, even if you feel like you irrelevant, even if you feel like nobody want to hear what you say, just go with your heart, do it. Don't be convinced by what the world been telling you all these years. Don't let it kick your ass. Don't let it get through the shell. Persevere, do what you was put here to do. You know, because when you look at something like when you're a rapper and you look at how rappers are looked at and how rappers, they talk like they models and have this time span, you know, and I guess you do. If you a flosser and if you in the game to get some notoriety and attention about some real estate, then you might look weird rapping at 50 or 60, you know. But me personally, I feel like I would have been what I am. If I was born in the 1400s, then I would have just been an orator, standing on the corner with a soapbox, gathering people around, rallying them to do something.
Yeah.
Because when you get through, rapping is just like the medium that I chose because I was born when I was born. I was blessed with a mind and I was blessed with a voice that people pay attention to, you know, and I was blessed with influence that people hang on my words. So I have to listen to that and make sure I don't use it in a negative way. That's what I did at first. Not like in my raps, because I'm gonna talk some shit in my raps, but I'm saying like in regular conversation, having people come up to me and tell me things that I said or jokes that I made when I was younger, and that's how they remember me, even though I'm not that person no more. But you know, with privilege comes great responsibility, so I can't just be throwing words around if I haven't thought about how people might hear them, and people hear them different ways depending on their intellectual maturity and emotional maturity. So I have to take that into consideration before I talk. No, regular people don't have to do that. I have to do that. But the flip side of that is you can use your voice and your words and your influence to help them feel something positive. They can remember something positive for years. And so you have to be real cognizant as far as choosing what you want to do when you figure out where your strengths and weaknesses lie.
You know, I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna have to like clip that and like run that Run that through. Run that through. Run that through. So I got just a few. You mind if I take just a little bit more time? A little bit
We
more
chilling,
time.
man. We chilling. We chilling.
With this pandemic and whatnot, you a movie watcher, TV watcher, or
I've been watching things. I've been watching things like documentaries and series and stuff with episodes. But because I got frustrated with movies. I made a movie and I figured out what a movie was to this generation, and it pissed me off because I thought that a movie was like an album or like a book. It's a piece of art where you lay the framework that people pick up and then they turn it into their own thing and they create around your creation. You know, like we all heard Dear Mama, but we got different mamas, so we heard it different. We heard so many tears and we was going through different things, so we heard it different. You know, that's what to me, that's the beauty of songs. That's the beauty of books. Everybody, you get 6 people read a book and they can describe a wall a certain type of way, but you can have people draw that wall that they feel like they describe. It's gonna be a bunch of different walls. Movies are not like that. People use movies as escapism. And they really want you to hold their hand. So they like movie. If they call it a good movie, that means it made them feel smart. Because people say, I watched that movie and I didn't even know what was going on. That wasn't a good movie.
Yes, and it wasted my time.
Yeah, you haven't thought about it. So maybe you got to watch it again.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like some movies, they'll be like, ooh, I think the butler did it. But you're right. But why do you think the butler did it? Because the director left breadcrumbs to kind of show you what was really going on. You're not smart. The director is smart, but that movie made you feel smart. So you're going to go give it a good review. Once I figured that out about movies, I was really kind of off them because I was one of those people too. I thought I was smart watching movies and figuring stuff out. I wasn't smart at all. You know, I used to
do it all the time, man.
I was just stroking my own ego. You know, I was stroking my own ego and thinking I was having the experience, but I was escaping, and they was offering me a way to feel smarter. Now, I will say I miss going to the theater because I used to go to the theater at night by myself.
Oh man,
and sit there and be immersed in the sound. And I used to write raps in my head in the theater, especially if the movie was like super easy to follow and predictable. I love being surrounded by sound and darkness and eating snacks, and it just got something in me. I done wrote so many raps, even that Traptized album. I done wrote so many raps in there doing mundane activities, and so I do miss that. But regular movies, I kind of don't watch them no more. But what was you finna ask about? I don't know, because I might have seen something you're talking about.
Nah, I was just gonna say, like, when I watch movies now, like my whole perspective is so different. Like I watch so many movies with my kids. Like I just be watching TV shows with them and be like, damn, that's Papa Legba. You know what I'm saying? They look back at me and they be like, huh? And I'd be like, nothing. Don't even worry about it. Like we'll be watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I'll just be like, huh, her dad's a Mason. That's wild. Man, it's like some of these things, man, I can't turn them off. I don't even want to, but it's just different the way I used to look at TV from back in the day, and now I'm watching it and I'm just like, damn, this might have been a setup. this might have been a like when you said I thought I was smart. I've had that where my apexes are just stepstones now. Like I used to think like my apexes were so high that I couldn't reach them, and now it's like, oh yeah, they've been doing this for a very long time and I just found out. That's all it is. That's all it is. So what was that moment for you when you found out? Like whether it was a book, movie, TV show.
I felt betrayed. I don't know if this relates to the question, but I felt very betrayed. I was watching some old footage from some old 80s news clips, and I saw this woman.
Yeah.
And it was just instantly these feelings came over me. I used to see her on TV when I was little. You know, and I was like, this woman is beautiful. If I ever meet a woman like this, man, I'm gonna be really excited.
Yeah.
You know, and I see her now, and she's just a regular woman. Like she's less than regular, you know what I'm saying? She like wasn't at all remarkable, I'll say. As not on news reporting, you know, I'm young, so I'm just her physical qualities, sir. And I was just realizing how I didn't want to believe it, but how watching TV shaped things that I was comfortable with. And I really, really didn't. I really didn't like that. I really didn't like how it might have changed how I interacted with some of our sisters. And I was that kind of pissed me off. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, because I'm a kid. I don't know how. That's why people fight so hard for representation. Because unfortunately, when you're talking about kids, that's how kids see the world. You know what I'm saying? They see the world through. They see and get to know the world, and they create their wishes based on what they see when they're being entertained.
Yes.
And yeah. So when I figured that out too, I was just like, oh man, and it made me have some different talks. Different talks with my daughter, who was struggling with her identity for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? Making sure she know, you know, hey, you watching that? None of that is real. Those are facades. Then I also make sure too that I show her things, and she probably get tired of me showing her stuff, but I be showing her stuff that reinforces what the world really represents, and showing her people who look like her with YouTube channels and that has the same hair as her and has confidence. And you know, so it's good that we got something now to counter it. But back then, you know, my folks just had a bunch of kids, and it was just like, go watch TV, and I'm watching them on there, like, you know, falling in love with these unremarkable women, and going out and looking for them, being more comfortable when I see them, feeling like I know them because I watch this unremarkable woman on the news every day. Oh man, yeah, that was
seeing that trope. You fall in love with that trope. Oh, my dad used the VCR a lot. So I remember watching some movie, and I remember him being like, "Hey," he changed his coat. I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, he had his coat on one scene, and then the next scene he didn't have a coat, and then the next scene he had the coat. They were all in the same place, and he was like, "See, they push stop every time." And he was telling me how they break down movies.
Yeah,
I was like 12. It was never the same after that. Never the same. I like. It was a mystery world to me. And then when I heard that, I was just like, oh. So then, you know what I'm saying, you go from Disney Channel to, well, sure, I'll watch the making of on HBO then, and watching stuff like that. So like you say, like TV, you get shaped by that shit like real quick.
Yeah, I wonder how the kids gonna do with that, because I remember we used to have like the making of. We used to have DVD extras, like you could watch your favorite movie and go watch how it was made exactly and see the stunts and stuff and talk to the
director notes people. And
they don't really got that now. So I wonder if that's gonna influence how much cap they believe.
Well, I showed my kids the other day how they make Marvel movies, like, you know what I'm saying, Maleficent and whatnot. And my 6-year-old, she's just like, so wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? She had that look, and I was just like, all right, thank you. That's all I needed. That's all I needed, because I want you to know that what you see ain't always what you're gonna get. And there's a lot more imagination. I was telling them the same stuff that you see on these kids shows. These adults are just doing the same kid stuff in adult roles. That's it. That's it. That's it.
It's important.
Saying, hey, anything else? Anything else? I like. This was beautiful, man. Honestly, honestly,
we just chilling, man. I appreciate you for having me on, man. I always try to be chill and calm and listen to what I'm being asked, so I can answer for real. Like I said again, because I already know maybe or maybe not my daughters or somebody like my daughters or kids or anybody is gonna watch this one day. And if I figure if I be genuine enough, they'll feel that energy come across and be like, hey, I think like that too. I think like that too. And that guy has a nice chair. Maybe I can get a chair. Maybe I can get a chair like that one day.
No, man, having being, oh wow. Speaking of kids, like, I can hear my kids screaming through like two doors. I'm gonna let the mama get them. They'll be all right. But dang, I just lost my train of thought.
I think you were saying just having men, and I can expound on that. Having
go
men,
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Men like us too. Like, we're not on here We might have weapons. We don't have to brandish the weapons. We don't have to have our whole personality be presented here. We don't have to get on here. What's up, guys? I'm back with another video. Subscribe, like. We'll have to do none of that. We can just be our genuine selves because we decide. We are the new black media, and we get to decide how they look at us. Tyler Perry don't have to put me on a movie screen because now we have this. And we can put ourselves out there and they can say, what you're saying is not true. Because I've seen a lot of different examples, a lot of different demeanors, a lot of different personality types of black men. They're not these archetypes you're talking about. I'm not going to allow you to treat them that way. You know? And that's if they're lucky enough to get that far. Because first off, we're not going to let you treat us that way. You're lucky because your daughter trying to help you. She's trying to help you. You're going to get hurt. You know?
It's so true, man. Like 2021, I'm just surprised. Well, maybe not surprised, but like I was in high school during 9/11. Like, so just to see this same stuff, like sometimes I just talk to my dad and I'm just like, I get it. I get it. I get why, like back in the day when he would watch, we would all watch the news together. He just get that big sigh watching news, like I ain't know what that meant, but now I get it because you see that same stuff and you just be like, here we go again. It's just a constant. It's a constant loop.
Sort of like that. It's a little better every time, though. You know, I think that we are enjoying the fruits of labor that our the labor that our not ancestors, because they're not that old, some of them still living, but the work that they did in the 60s and 70s, we just now enjoying the fruits of that. And we have to be comfortable knowing, that the work we putting in now, we probably not gonna get to see it in our lifetime. We're not gonna get to see the fruits of it, you know, but we just have to keep doing it because the people before us did it. We can't throw our hands up. You know, we gonna give that big sigh, you know what I'm saying? Kiss our wife, pat our kids on the head and go out and get our ass kicked some more and do some more work. And then, you know, maybe in 2050, you know, maybe in 2060, they'll see the fruits of labor in this, because it is getting better. It's just sometimes, you know, we're not fortunate enough to get to see the fruits of the work we put in.
It was I'll say this. I know it was a lot of 60, 70, 80 hour weeks put in back in them 60, 70, 80s. Lord, I'm telling you. What's your favorite show? Do you even have one? Show? Like is there a favorite
of all time, or like right now or recently, or what? Because I love media so much that I love stuff like that so much. It's like a long list. My favorite show of all time is The Wire. That's the most concise, the show I've ever seen in my life. I didn't watch season times. All 5 seasons.
Okay.
Because they wrote.
Zoom, are you kicking me off again?
So we're gonna tell you.
Zoom, are you kicking me off again?
One of them was like the schools, and the other one was the newspaper, and they talked about the same drug trade, but they talked about it 5 seasons and 5 different perspectives, and it just blew my mind. And it was all connected. I ain't never seen nothing that well put together, man. That was awesome. So that's my favorite show of all time. But as of recently, I really like Luther with Idris Elba, because those episodes was cool, and every episode was like a movie, and it wasn't predictable. So I really like stuff like that. But on the side, just like fodder shows that I watch while I'm eating my daily food, I like Pawn Stars and I like Forged in Fire, because it's you know, I see Forged in Fire before, you know, because I do research, sure it's true, fact check it. Then a lot of a treasure trove of, and I like adding to that whenever I can. I'm never gonna make a knife. I'm never gonna make a knife. I'm never gonna forge a sword. Never. So, but it's fun to watch and it's fun to learn. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably be around the forge and be like, hey man, you when you quenched your blade was too hot, and that's why you got that
Yo.
wood. You know what I'm saying? I'll be talking like that. Oh, you make swords? No, not at all. Not at all.
The day
No.
you just have that forged in fire info to just, you're gonna be like, yo, this is
My life is complete. I can
you
die
be
happy.
like I Forged in Fire. I've heard of it.
Yeah, they got 30 episodes on Netflix right now.
Okay, that's what it was on. I knew it was on something. I know I had seen a commercial for it or something like that. I don't know. I started watching Blackish last week. I told myself I was never gonna watch the show. Honestly, I had a lot of pride. I've seen Anthony Anderson, and I was like, nope, not gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. Then I started watching it, and I can't stop.
Hey,
Can't.
That huh?
I can't even stop. I was like, man, I need to be reading this Noble Drew Ali, but I was like, I need balance. So let me watch this. Let me watch this Blackish, man, because this. Do you watch any anime? I only ask that, even though I know you do. What's the most recent thing, and can you subscribe anything for me? Because I've never really dove into it.
I hadn't liked a lot of the more recent stuff. I watched, I forgot what it was called, where the guy was. Yeah, I hadn't liked a lot of the recent stuff. I've tried to like some of it, but my favorite anime of all time is Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex gig too. You know, because even before now, like I watched it in the early 2000s, and some of the stuff they talked about is like happening now. Yeah, it's crazy. The movie was okay with Scarlett Johansson. That was okay, but the cartoons are really awesome, because it's a bunch of ideas about how it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? And thought crimes and stuff like that. But that's my favorite one, and it's great music done by Yoko Kanno as well. That don't hurt. But I wasn't really into the Cowboy Bebop. I wasn't really into the Samurai Champloo. I wasn't really into a lot of the stuff, but I watched it all because my partners was watching it. Yeah. But I dove the deepest into the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. I related to that like super quick. And Baki was the thing that I was watching. It was cool. Baki was cool. It just I just lost interest after a while. Attack on Titan was pretty cool, and the live action movie was cool too. I think they got another season out that's supposed to be really good. Yeah. But so maybe the most recent one that I liked is Attack on Titan. I like that a lot.
I finally watched Afro. What was it? Afro
Samurai.
Yes, 2 weeks ago. It's been a lot of Bruce Lee. Been a lot of Bruce Lee energy. So just started watching some stuff, and I saw that, and I was like, isn't this wonderful? I'd never seen it before. Yeah. Never. I don't even think I watched any anime in my whole entire life. Never. Yeah.
I always like cartoons, but sometimes not just anime cartoons, like the Triplets of Belleville. It's a real cool ass like French cartoon, I think. And it's just, I love stuff like that. That's like, especially stuff that's rotoscope, like Ralph Bakshi Wizards. Love that. I love stuff like that. It's about time for me to watch that again. I watch it every few years. But I love stuff like that. Just any type of cartoons. Anime is cool. I think anime needs a refresh right now. They getting it's popular, and they getting, all of the tropes. You got the lackadaisical hero who kind of look drunk all the time. He make weird jokes and goofy, but he can fight. It's just, that's cool. The unassuming hero, that's cool. But it's like they've done it to death. And so I'm ready for them and I know they can do it, because a lot of the freshest ideas come from anime. So I'm ready to see them refresh the genre, and I'll be waiting.
They got enough stories, that's for sure. Like, shoot, there's enough stories, there's enough gods, goddesses, and deities you can pull from.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need some Nigerian anime. We need some Santeria anime. That's what we need. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need. That's where Nollywood needs to do for us. Go on, drop that.
Speaking of something to come back, is there anything from the 90s and 2000s, like 90s R&B, or like that time when the top 10 in album sales, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is there a time in music that you remember the most?
1994 for me, especially
Yeah.
summer '94. Like that was the albums that dropped that year in 1994. You know, I had to bootleg them. I didn't have enough money to go buy all of them. Every album was a good. Every album had at least 9 good songs. I need to look this up real quick. Hold up, because
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna show you what 1994 did to the game. 1994 rap releases. But if anything that I missed though, it's the sound quality of R&B in the 90s. Like that's, to me, that's some of the best sound quality. It was super duper warm. You know, so if we talking about 1994, right? We talking about Nas, Illmatic. We talking about Ready to Die, Notorious Big, Southern Playalistic by Outkast. We talking about Regulate the G-Funk era with Warren G. The Gangstar dropped the album. Scarface dropped the Diary. Come on, man. They Rooted the Damage dropped. Common dropped Resurrection. Keith Murray dropped The Most Beautifulest. The Brett dropped Functified. I was just amazed when I heard them beats and stuff, even though they were samples. Pete Rock and CL Smooth dropped The Main Ingredient. Redman dropped There's a Dark Side. UGK dropped Super Tight. You see what I'm saying? Diggable Planet dropped Blowout Comb. That was cool. I didn't like it as much as the other joint. But I mean, I could keep going. MC8 dropped We Come Strapped. I banged that shit. Like I tore that tape up. You know what I'm saying? Hold up, because I'm missing some. That you get it. I could keep going. 8-Ball Ninja on the outside looking in. Come on, man. And you know, I'm in the South. The Murder Was the Case soundtrack came out. Come on, man.
Wow.
The only album I didn't like that came out then was Fushnikins. Because I'm not a true Fushnik. I don't care how much Shaq rap on it. But everything else though was cold. That year right there, I just got like,
talking about that whole summer. God.
Yeah. And I was going to summer school and I was walking up the block getting dropped off at my partner house, and I had the little gray Sony Walkman, and I just remember bumping at Warren G, walking up to his house, yelling at his window in his apartment complex, like, "Hey, unlock that door, boy, I'm finna come in," you know what I'm saying? And he had all the best Super Nintendo games in them jumps was one player. And I was like, bro, we got to walk to the Hastings and rent some two-player. You know, and a messed up story behind that is I convinced him to go with me one time, and he had the money. And I convinced him to rent a game. And you know what I picked out? Alfred Chicken. Even to this day,
plot twist.
he ain't forgave me for that one yet. You know, I'm still I'm forever in his debt for wasting this time, man. Like, it was a long ass walk. We was 13. It was a long walk to the Hastings. And I picked some pure garbage. And I was like, come on, man, it's your turn. He's like, I don't want to play that shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, 1994 stick out because I was coming into my own. I was traveling and running the streets by myself as a 13, 14-year-old, finna be 15. And it was on. That was my first time hearing some of them chords, and I was very open to be influenced. I was malleable at the time, and so that's when I was like, because you know, I had felt them type of feelings from music in church, but I had never felt it like from rap or nothing. You know, MC8 sampling Bob James and sampling all these soul singers and stuff, and man, I felt on top of the world, man. I felt on top of the world. I was right in that little. I was 14, so I could kind of go out on my own, but didn't nobody expect nothing from me. Yeah. And then the whole soundtrack was just the backdrop, you know, and then also playing with extreme emotions, you know, Biggie, if I die, fuck it, I want to go to hell because I'm a piece of shit. It ain't hard to fucking tell. I'm like, yeah, you know, when you're 14 and you don't got what you want, you think you know what that means. So you like, yeah, that's right. Biggie understands. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Oh God. Because you remember, and at that time, everybody was like, it was cool to be depressed back then. Everybody was goth, everybody was dark, everybody was rapping about Ouija boards, and everything was that was the thing back then. So
Bone Thugs and Harmony. Yeah. Oh man, I remember you would get a whooping for having Bone Thugs and Harmony.
For real?
Yeah. Well, that was in my jurisdiction.
Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They was coming down on that. I remember my mama threw out Crucial Conflict CD. Came out in 95.
My grandma threw out. My grandma didn't play that. That was what she drew the line at. I lived with her for a little bit, and she found Lil' Kim hardcore, and she wasn't having it. She wasn't having it.
I can understand the shock of seeing.
Yeah, she looked back the track list, and she's like, "Oh, eat my pussy." Okay. I see the vibes. This ain't staying in my house.
Yeah, there's no way. I remember I bought DMX first album, Dark and Hell is Hot. That didn't last long. Yeah, yeah. I think I remember leaving that one in the car. Have you ever left a CD in the car? Forgot to left it in the car?
I didn't, but I had it on my dresser. Usually I just keep it in my drawer, but I left Lil' Kim on the dresser. I'm like, she ain't gonna come in here. She ain't tripping, you know.
Yeah.
Because you have it on the dresser because the boom box was on the dresser. So you had the CDs on the dresser so you could change it while you on the phone caking while you ironing your clothes. You see what I'm saying? I had a whole loadout. You know what I'm saying? It was a process. And so I forgot to tidy up the room and grandma came in because, you know, I didn't stay there for long. So I was new there. And at my house where I was coming from, my mom wasn't tripping on what I listened to. So yeah, that didn't go over well. Wasted that $18.99. $18.99. And you know, your grandma too, she wasn't gonna wait for me to figure it out. Go in there and look for your CD. It's not in there, is it? Come on. Your presentation stinks, Grandma. Your presentation stinks. It's terrible.
Thanks. You win a prize. What did I win? You just told me what I won. I don't know what happened.
This is trash. I'm gonna emancipate from you.
Do you imagine throwing away music now as a parent?
Nah, I wouldn't do it. I would. What I try to do with my influence is I'm so animated, happy, goofy with the kids. Just me being serious affects their mood. Sometimes I have to let them know, like, hey, I'm just focusing right now. This is not no energy that's directed towards you, and they can kind of feel it. But when they'll put on something, and instead of me saying something, I'll ask them questions. Like one of my daughters like Billie Eilish a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm the listen that bad guy song. I'm the seduce your dad type. And I'm like, you know what that means? You know what I'm saying? Or she'll say something and I'll be like, and I ask her, do you believe that?
Yeah.
And then I'll leave it right there because she can already tell by how I'm asking and what I'm asking, you know. So I just try to ask them questions. I don't be like, turn that off right now. Or I don't do nothing like that because I think that's how I always want to leave the lines of communication open to where we could chop it up about anything. But when they see me serious, they already know, like, okay, he's cool. He's not that cool. I can't play this around him without him trying to teach me a lesson. And you damn right. You're damn right, because you know I want to make sure you receive this information right. You're just throwing stuff around because it's weird to talk about. Like, I think it's gross when grown men or any grown person preys on a child, you know, sexually. Yeah. But then you have a girl out who is not of age, and she's talking about she's the seduce your dad type. I was not feeling it. I wasn't feeling that. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's weird. You know, I feel like you're trying to plant something in my brain or something like that. And I ain't with that. And I don't even want to joke about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what is it? This is a -- song. And it's not even that good. With that little goof ass beat. You know, so it's just, so but I would never throw it away though. I think that's the easiest way to lose a little something with our bond. I want to let her at least think that the choice is hers, you know. I guess you can, because the information is out there. So I'm not going to shield you from the information. What I will try to do is try to mold the way you receive the information, you know. Or I'll be like, you know, that's just a song, right? You know, this person don't believe that. And I'll show them something to let them know, like, nah, this is not cool, you know, because when you got your 10-year-old talking about she's the seduce your dad type. You know.
We gotta.
We're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna ask you some questions about it, make you think. And when you see the look on my face while we having that talk about it, you're gonna be like, yeah,
you're gonna pick up on it. You're gonna pick up on it.
Pick up on it, and it's hopefully it stay with you. You know.
Yeah, because if not, I'll be back. Like I got nothing but time. I'll be right back. I know exactly what I need to say.
And I know where you live.
we're gonna iron this thing out real quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and ask you. When did you prepare for these moments? Because I'm pretty sure you were already thinking, all right, this is gonna be some stuff we're gonna have to handle eventually on down the road. how do you
I prepare
get
for
that
it like
in
as they came, just by asking other guys around me who had kids that were older,
you? Mm-hmm.
asking them how they responded to things, how they, what was their perception of fatherhood. I was I don't live with one of my daughters, and I was always insecure about our bond,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought it was happening slowly because of the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I got pissed off, talked to one of my partners about it, and he was like, man, my son didn't bond with me till he was like 3 years old. He was like, he lived in the house with me and just didn't want to be in a room with me. He would always follow the girls around.
In there?
He was like, it was this one time where he almost drowned in the pool, and I got him out and sat him down, and he was like, he looked at me a certain way, and he been wanting to go with me ever since then.
Ever since, yeah.
He was like, before that, he ain't mess with me like that. I was like, oh, and he, and they live in the same household, so I just make sure I try to ask a lot of questions to other parents to see how they handle things.
Yeah.
Because I have a stepdaughter, and people ask me, do I have a daughter? Or people like, oh, is that your daughter? And she has a father who is living and active in her life. And so she want to make sure she correct them and be like, no, this is not my father. This is my stepfather. But she don't want to hurt my feelings. And I'm the same way.
I
don't want to hurt her.
I am there.
So I asked one of my friends with kids, like, you got stepkids, what do you do? And she was like, well, you have to give her a name, a special name that only maybe other people will start to call her, but only you call her. So you don't introduce her as your daughter. You like this one is my daughter. This is my, and then implant the special name. Just little tactics and stuff, especially women. Women got, women is the goats basically. So any type of women you could ask any type of questions about parenthood, you're going to get some in-depth, thoughtful, and creative answers. And so I just ask a lot of questions as far as parenthood goes, because I want to make sure that I am being fair, diplomatic, and cool. I want my kids to think I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I want them to think I'm relatable, so we can so they don't feel alone when they have problems.
Yeah, man, that's a key point, because I figured out myself doing my own, well, to put it bluntly, everybody got to do their own chakra work. I do my own, you go back in your past and you figure out which things went this way, went that way. I will say the judgment that comes from outside parenting. How did, when you run into that, because I know for a fact, by the time, school and stuff came around, I was just like, oh yeah, there are other parents out there who don't even think like me. And you run into that friction of, oh man, you're that type of guy. And then I just had to grow into, hey, I am who I am. I know my truth and I'm good with that. Like, how did you go through that?
I mean, I just listen to what they say, paired with me observing how they do. Because some people got real harsh black and white advice for your kids, but then when you come to their kids, they got all types of mercy and grace.
True.
So I do still take that into account as well. But I just, I'm confident. I'm super confident about my parenting, and my and the product of my parenting comes from not me saying it, but just see how they is with me. They'd be like, you such and such, and you made her feel this way. Like, did I? Ask her her how she feels.
Yeah.
Ask her, and it's no pressure. And she'll tell him, my kids ain't scared of me.
Yeah.
My kids ain't scared of me. My kids don't want to disappoint me.
Yeah.
My kids know that I'm like the law, but they're not scared of me. They're not in fear of nothing. So I'm like, ask her. She's a free moral agent, and I have equipped her. You coming into the situation, but you don't know that you the enemy. She finna, and I don't have to say nothing. Right, ask her. Go bad on me, and it's not gonna go how you think it's gonna go. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's where my confidence comes from. They comfort level of expressing themselves about me and for me. So I be chilling. I don't the main advice that I take is the advice that I ask for. Most of the time when people volunteer advice, you don't know why they doing it for posturing reasons or something. And I don't pay too much attention to that, because a lot of times that's an ego thing.
That's true.
They just so that's how I do. I'm not a traditional parent, but The kids are respectful. They smart. They doing good. They don't get into fights and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, anything else that they want, they can holler at us about, and we'll try to work on it. But other than that, you know, you can't really tell me shit about mine. You know what I'm saying? You know, not saying that if some of them offer some stuff and I'd be like, yeah, she do be bullshitting in that area, so we need to work on that. It's like that. You can talk to me, but it's just far as you volunteering some left field advice or saying some other stuff, like not knowing the relationship that we have, you know. So like one time I was out at this festival, you know, and got the little one some food. She sat down and squatted, and just ate it like in the middle of the block. It's a festival, so you can do that. But boy, I was like, girl, you look ratchet, such and such. And some woman that I knew, but I hadn't seen her in a while. She was like, don't call your little girl ratchet. That's not cool. Don't refer to her that way. That is going to do something to her confidence. I'm like, all right, motherfucker, you don't know we talk. That's how we go. She know what I mean by that. You know, it doesn't, you can't put your connotations on our dialogue. You know what I'm saying? She know. So you haven't been around the 10,000 times I told you that she is strong. She is beautiful. She is smart. She good enough. Make her do affirmations in the mirror, you know, to and tell herself that, you know, so you missed all of that. You just heard one of our exchanges and you were going to interject some unsolicited wisdom, you know, and that's, so I don't listen to stuff like that, you know, so I don't listen to stuff like that. You know how people are. They just trying to, and also too, that reminds me that I don't need to do that. I try to do that like as little as possible. I'm not never finna just volunteer no advice or anything. I try to wait till I'm asked, and then I'll offer my insight, and I'll preface it with, this is what I think, or this is what I've observed. Not this is what I know. It's like, here's something I'm going to present to you that I've tried, and you maybe can see if it works for you. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Yes.
Oh, shoot, man. Anything else?
That's it, man.
Say nothing. Hey, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate you answering. I appreciate you following through. I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate the energy. I appreciate the honesty. All of it, man. I do. And the raps is dope. I mean, you already know this. I mean, I ain't telling you nothing that you don't already know, man. But yeah.
What is that one rap? What is that rap of yours that I like, man? You should have tagged me in the comments of it so I could pull it up when I need to, man. Because that's, I don't know what you was on that day, but you went off that day. I mean, you always go off, but you went off that day, and now I can't even find it, man. You did like 6 or 7 of them since then too, so. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Or not particularly.
It's not. Yep. It's something, because I remember you said it on your stream, and I was like,
I said it on the stream,
and I was like,
I commented on it.
I was like, something blah blah.
Commented on it. Something blah blah. That was it. That was the one.
Nah, man. Watching y'all's I would say like one of the first times I watched one of your streams. I watched it. I was just like, wait a minute. I was like, huh. This is nice. This is dope. This is good. Because I never really listened to people like make stuff. Because I was like, well, I'm not a beat maker. I'm not a producer.
That's
or anything.
Crazy.
Like
I didn't know you didn't. I didn't know you didn't make beats. I thought you.
Not even close. Not even.
How did you get introduced to the tribe then? You just saw it and just hopped in. I don't know why I assume everybody make beats. You know how they go.
The wildest thing is, I used to way back when that Piff was popping, like 2010, 09 era, we would go through and like you had to sponsor beats. So I was like, nah, you can't mess with them. And then if you saw free instrumentals and there were no tags and no email address, and it was just put out there, we would take those beats and we would rap on those, because we knew if you went and rapped somewhere else and you had somebody else tag on there, you was gonna get took. Now, stealing beats back in the day, I don't know how people act about that stuff now, but there was face to faces back then, so you know we didn't want to do with none of that.
Yeah.
But I had, it was a whole bunch of MG stuff on there, and I didn't even know
he had beats on that Piff.
He had beats on
That's
that picture.
crazy.
I'm pretty sure. I'm so sure. Like I got
It's
folders.
crazy. I found MG later trying to find some tutorials for plugins and stuff, but he played one of his beats that was old before, and I had downloaded. I got it off SoundClick. I was like, bro, you made this beat? I rapped over this beat like in 2011.
I was trying to find him on Twitter because I was like, well, if he makes beats, then maybe I can buy something up off of him for a project that I was doing. So I added him on Twitter, and then I saw his tweets, and I was like, huh. This kind of runs into some of the stuff I tweet about. And he said something about a live, and I jumped into live, and I was like, okay. And then
that layer
after that, and that was it. Like that was
a bunch of us. It's a bunch of
us.
Like,
now the whole thing was I don't know. It was different. And I was coming into the time where I was finding some new things out for myself. So everything worked out very nicely, man. Like the info is always good. The banter is always good, even though, hey man, I done fell out of the banter route like probably 10 years ago. I think that fire for me has gone out. I think I done burned that candle, man.
Well, we'll keep it running in your honor.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it was odd how I even came to even know that was even a thing. I ain't even know nothing about it. And then with the YouTube stuff, but like running into you, running into him, all the other dudes on there, MH, like projects like everywhere. It was just nice to see people like doing what they want to do and conversing, and just a community to do other things. Because I mean, shoot, man, you seen it, man. Like it's dog eat dog out here, and for rightful reasons. In most cases, I mean, sure, I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you rapping and I'm rapping, like, move out of my way, like, so I can get this deal. Like, I've been in that I've ventured in that world a little bit, but I also know that, man, just like you say, just having confidence in yourself and knowing who you are, then you don't have to put on a front. Then you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be out of your element. You don't feel like you have to say a certain thing to be in someone's certain club and all that other stuff.
You're like, oh, I don't belong here. I'll let y'all. And that's it. That's it.
Yes, I've done that many, many times where I've gone to a party, gone to an event, and just been like,
respectfully.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna be all right. Like you said, eventually you're gonna get to a point where all those other opinions, you'll listen to them. You'll be like, all right, okay. But whatever you got does not override what I'm doing over here. I see if I can add to it. If it adds to it, then cool. If it doesn't, then, it's all right. It'll be fine. But sure, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. Shit, man. I'm going to go ahead and eat. It's been a good one. Hey, if you have that instrumental, I would love to rap on that Lil Rock.
The Mob and that Lil Rock for sure. I'll get you there.
Yeah, man. Man.
See. Hold up. Matter of fact, I'm finna do it on stream. I'm finna send it to you. Not now, but right now. You hear me? That's how we do it. So you can't say I didn't send it to you. I'm finna do it on screen. Hit this thing that's a clipboard. Now watch me send the wrong links. See? I told you I ain't shit. You ain't believe me. Come on now. I know this. It ain't that much stuff on my clipboard. There it is. I think this is it right here. Let me see when I send it. Yep, that's it. I just sent it to you. Did you get it?
Bet. Already here.
Yeah.
Already here. I appreciate it. Oh man. When that next stream comes? What you got next?
I don't know. I know I'm finna I know Justin got a pack out. I'm gonna stream with his stuff, and I got some other interviews coming up. The interviews just be like, I'm constantly DMing these boys, getting on their nerve, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, all right, I'm ready. And I have to hear it and turn on the spaceship and stuff. So I don't never know when it's gonna happen. I just have to roll with it.
Hey man, keep that energy out there, man. I already know you're already on that anyway. So man, keep that manifest ready. And it's dope. like it's just dope. I have no other words other than it's dope. Like, like actually listening to people have something to say, have some rhythm, have some soul, all and have like some mental some mental awareness, like all wrapped in one. That's dope.
Yeah, bro. This is how it's finna be. We here now. The new black media is here now. It's a wrap. It's a wrap for them other ones. We got us now. You know what I'm saying? So we good. I'm excited.
Hey man, keep that torch, man. Keep that thing rolling, man. We check you out on the next one. I am 607. You already know. Go ahead and hit them with it. The Twitters, the Soundclouds.
Everything is I am 607. iam607.com. From the Cash App to the Twitter to the Clubhouse. It's all I am 607, man.
Hey man, y'all be good. It is what it is. Have a good one, man.
Skin that I live in. If you don't stand out, you won't fit in. Authorization denied, you can't get in. Cowards trying to kiss the mouths that I spit in. Cause you sus, we discussed, and this is the difference. If you don't stand